everybody. This is Teryn from the Girlz Inc. studio in Las Vegas, and welcome to my podcast, A Tatter-a-fact.
Woo!
And look who we got today. All right.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks for doing this. You had no choice.
Yeah, I was like, you said this was today.
You're doing my podcast today.
Figure out a topic.
Yeah, we figured out a good topic. We're going to talk about removal, because you do a lot of removal.
I like doing a lot of removal.
I know you do. So, yeah. So, everybody knows you're a Girlz Inc. artist. You're here all the time with me. Have you creeped into my podcast room, or is this your first time coming into my podcast room?
No, I've creeped up
You've
in
creeped
here.
in here?
Just a little bit. Not too much.
You didn't mess anything up, did you?
I didn't touch shit.
No, I know. Do you like it, though?
I do.
Yeah, it's cozy, right?
A lot of black and pink as
Well.
the per usual.
Yeah, I like black and pink. And I don't like anything bright. You know, we get headaches. You and I get migraines and headaches. So anything with bright backgrounds, the white backgrounds, it bothers me. So I thought we'll do it mostly black, make it look kind of cozy and, branding.
Yeah, it looks good. I like it.
I like it too. Okay, good. So let's before we get into like removal and some of that stuff, let's talk a little bit about you. People are probably curious
Uh-oh.
about you because you got green hair.
Well,
you're
matches lift.
All right, the bottle lip, and you're tattooed everywhere, and you keep going and going and going. Cat don't like it,
I mean, most of it you can't even see.
I know. You know how Mama Cat is. She don't even want me like getting, more tattoos. I had to beg her for my new sleeve.
I'm doing this so you could live vicariously through me.
Through me. Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're so good to me. All right. So you've been with Girlz Inc. over 6 years now,
Yes.
a little over 6 years. So how did we meet? Some people might be curious on how you even like stumbled across my path and how we met.
Well, you tattooed my mom and my aunt.
I did tattoo your mom.
Yeah, both crazy ladies.
Now, and you, but you've taken them over now.
Yeah, you don't have to tattoo them anymore. It's fine. No, my aunt asked me if I wanted to come watch her get tattooed, and I was like, all right, might as well come. And then she said that I come, but her artist said I wasn't allowed to talk or ask any questions. And then I met you.
Did I say that?
And then when I got in the room, you're like, you had to be quiet and don't ask me any questions. Very serious. Got to work.
Well, I'm putting eyebrows on a woman's face. I got to be serious. But over the years, how many people wanted to, thought maybe they wanted to do this and they wanted to come sit in and watch me work. And after you get a couple of yackers, then you got to set the rules right up front. Okay, you can come watch. I've always been generous that way. Come watch, but zip it. Like,
well, I mean, I did watch, and then I wanted to do it, and then I asked, and you were like, no.
Did I say no?
You're
I don't
like,
remember
no.
saying no.
I was like, do you take apprentices? You're like, no.
Then, well, you know why?
Well, yeah, the crier. I know.
I did want to, by the time I had met you, just as an observer, I had one experience with an apprenticeship. And here in Vegas, you got to do at least 6 months. So I was like stuck with this girl for 6 months. And I didn't take that into consideration. Like, okay, am I going to jive with this girl for 6 months? Am I going to get along with her? And we didn't really jive so much. And so it irritated me, having someone hovering over me and following me around like constantly when for like years and years and years, I wasn't used to that. So it's not her fault.
Bad taste in your mouth.
It did, but definitely not her fault. It was just set in my ways, I guess, at that time. And so, yeah, it didn't work out good. So probably by the time I met you, when you came in to observe with your aunt, I probably wasn't still quite ready for an apprentice. I was still like healing the wounds.
Nope, took me a few years.
Took you a few years. But then finally, I had, my clientele was so big, I couldn't keep up with them. I was scheduled 6-7 months out in advance. I needed to open up a studio and have some really good artists, trained under me. So I don't even remember. Did I reach back out to you, or did you reach back?
No, I kept hounding you year after year. And I was like, you taking an apprentice yet? And you're like, nah. I was like, and a year later, you changed your mind yet? And you're like, No.
So why didn't you just okay, screw Teryn. I'm just going to go find somebody else.
Because I wanted to train under you.
Something
and it was
about
going to
me?
happen.
Yeah.
I was going to make it happen.
No, all right. So maybe something about me. Or maybe your aunt and your mom liked me so much. They were like, no, you wait
That
for
too.
Teryn.
They're like, you got to train with Teryn. She's the best. I was like, well, if I'm going to train, I'm going to train with the best.
Are you glad you waited?
Well, yeah, look at me.
No, seriously, look at you. You're like phenomenal. You really are. You've come like so far in 6 years. And even Kat, we go home at night and we talk about you girls. And you're just so talented, Michon. You're good. I mean, your eyeliners, like look, your eyeliners were good, but like this last year, like just something happened with your eyeliners. They're not just good and great. They're like spectacular.
I'm like,
they're so
everything
good.
started clicking lately.
Right. And you're at your 6-year mark. So would you agree that it probably took you 5 years? Once you round that corner, that 5-year corner, things just really start to...
Well, yeah. I mean, it takes time to hone in your craft. It takes a long time to finally get to where you want to be. And I'm not even where I want to be. I want to be better than what I am today.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Well, I think that's a true artist, right? You're never quite satisfied where you are. We don't, artists are never complacent, right? We're never, and that's probably the torturous part of being an artist. I think we're never satisfied, right? We never become complacent with our own work. We're always.
But that's good. Strive to be better.
It is good. It is good. What was, so you do eyebrows, eyeliner, lips. Let's just not talk about removal yet. Out of those 3, what was the hardest for you to get really good at?
Eyeliner.
I remember.
I'm not gonna lie. I still kind of don't like eyeliner. I'm good at it. I just don't like it that much.
I think that the thing about eyeliner is you don't like eyeliner until you're done.
Yeah.
You're done the eyeliner,
You're like,
right?
thank God, this is over.
Yeah, you're cleaning them and you set them up and you're like, oh my God, that's so good. I love eyeliner. But the next time you book an eyeliner, you're like, oh, God damn it, I hate eyeliner.
Well, I mean, it's not so much the doing part. It's more or less I got to concentrate a little bit harder, but you know why.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll segue right into that. So when you first started with me, you were really worried about something about yourself, and you brought it to my attention. So why don't you go ahead and talk about that?
So I have a natural hand tremor. My hand, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it just shakes. I just have a natural shake.
So that must make clients feel really confident when they're choosing you.
Sometimes I like to start tattooing them, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want this to freak you out, but I have a hand tremor. And they're like, what?
Do clients ever feel it? Like when you're working on them, do they feel it shake?
Nope, never had anybody say anything except for you.
Yeah, except for me. But what did I tell you? When you came to me and said, I don't know if you're going to want me or, want me in your program.
I didn't want to waste your time. That was more or less the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
I'd be like, if this is going to affect me or affect how good I could be or where you want me to, be, get rid of me and get someone else.
Yeah. And did I?
No. You said you could either work with it or work around it. Figure it out.
That's exactly what I said to you. I remember that. I remember that day. Yeah. So, it was like either you'll incorporate that natural shake that you have into your style and your technique and the way you work, and it will just become a part of you, or it's going to be a nuisance and it's going to be a barrier and maybe you can never get past it. But hopefully my attitude towards it gave you the attitude of right on. I'm just going to incorporate it into my technique and make it work.
And it worked.
And it worked. Yeah.
And I like to freak people out with it sometimes.
I know you do. Because you're that.
Yeah.
You're a little that.
Yeah.
You like torturing people. So I guess you like torturing the apprentices.
Yeah.
We have
it's
2
hilarious.
right now. Well, Stephanie just kind of graduated from apprentice to she's taking
paid apprentice.
She's taking she's still an apprentice, but and I will say this. So Amber left us. No, not really. She just moved, so she's in her own studio, and she'll be here tomorrow. Actually, she's doing a podcast tomorrow.
Yeah,
with us.
we're having our own screens so we can FaceTime each other while we tattoo.
Yeah, she told me she bought that for you. So I know. Well, she came up last Sunday and we went live on Instagram together, and it was really great to see her. And and she misses us and stuff. She loves her place, and but she's getting used to, working, with all of us girls, and it is a change, but it's a good change for her. But I even told her, Michon, I said, yeah, well, your friend Michon, she's walking around here with a new like swag in her step, like she's queen bitch now that you left. Like Michon's like queen bitch. I go, and she's like totally like torturing the apprentices really bad.
I'm trying to build their character, okay? I'm trying to toughen them up.
Yeah. And we do torture our apprentices a little bit in a good way.
It's a good kind of hazing.
It's a good hazing. I modeled our apprenticeships, the way we do our apprenticeships, kind of that of a body tattoo apprenticeship, or at least the body tattoo apprenticeship I was in for 18 months. And it was Eddie Lynn at the Skin Factory here. I know I talk about him all the time, but I love that man. He was so good to me, and he taught me a lot. And everything he taught me in body tattooing made my permanent, really up to my permanent makeup game. Mm-hmm. And I like the way body tattoo shops, train their artists, work with their apprentice. And, you guys, I kept you on eyebrows for what, like a year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Long time
until your eyebrow.
And then one day you just get an eyeliner and you're scared shitless.
I do. I just walk an eyeliner in your room like, today you're doing an eyeliner. But if I tell you what you're doing, if I tell you my plans for you, then you guys get nervous. That's the way I feel about it. So I'd rather not tell you. Way. I'd rather just like,
just make us throw up that day, not the whole week.
Yeah, for sure. So, so you're getting married.
I am getting married.
In November?
November 13th of this year.
So November 13th. So hopefully all the COVID stuff is relaxed and we can party and enjoy and not worry.
If I can find a venue, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I feel hopeful. And we're measured here. This is 6 feet apart. So actually it's a little over 6 feet. Me and Kat measured it, because you can't wear a mask with a podcast.
No.
Because you can't hear.
It's too muffled.
It's too muffled. People don't like it. So we made sure we were like over 6 feet apart. But you and I, we work together all the time, so we don't have to worry about it. So I noticed with Jake, so oftentimes when you have students, like removal students, I'll walk by your room with a student. I see your fiance all sprawled out on the table, like in his skivvies.
Yeah, I was in his underwear last time he was here.
Well, not his underwear.
They were like booty shorts.
Yeah,
short shorts.
Yeah. So he's a model for you a lot.
Yes, he's got a lot of tattoos that he doesn't like and he wants to get rid of. And I was like, well, might as well put you to work.
That's good. You got him trained well.
Yeah, he comes in and he sits there. He doesn't complain.
Yeah.
It's a good model.
Yeah.
And I know where he lives.
Yeah. There you go. So, okay. Let's talk about removal. So you are kind of like me. So when I first taught you girls removal, you absolutely fell in love with it, right? Mm-hmm. Became really super passionate about it.
I did.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about removal?
You know what? There's a lot of things, but I just like helping these people. They come in and some of them are crying, some of them are hysterical.
Yeah.
And they're just so grateful to get that stuff removed.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit of a sadist. I like to torture people a little bit.
Yeah.
But more or less it's to make people feel better.
Yeah. No, that was my thing too. It was like you get to really lighten sometimes or oftentimes down to the point where it's no longer even really visible.
Yep. And
something that was really unattractive on a woman's face. And a lot of times it bothers them psychologically, mentally. I've definitely removed stuff on people that had, depression over what was tattooed on their face.
Yeah, I've had a client not go out of his house unless he was coming to see me.
Was that guy recent? Was he the recent one?
No, he hasn't been in recently, but yeah, his eyebrows were so botched.
Oh, I know which one you're talking. Yeah. No. I know which one. you were talking about.
I felt so bad for him.
Yeah. I know you do. You feel really, really, really bad. So you've been doing removal, what would you say, 4 years?
Yeah, maybe 5. I
Maybe
think I
5?
started really
I think I started
recently,
you.
right after I started doing
Yeah,
brows.
yeah, I think I did too. That's when I think removal kind of blew up in the industry, and I started doing classes. We came out with Lift.
Yep.
And we started doing classes, and I needed help. We needed like a co-train, someone to help me, and you just went right after it, and you're good at it too.
I like it.
Yeah. So I know. So do you like? Do you prefer? What do you prefer? Putting color in or pulling it out?
To be honest, it really just depends on the day. Like some days I'm like, I just want to do a bunch of removal. Cause I mean, if you think about it, removal is really easy. You don't have to think about design. You don't have to think about any of, color or anything like that. You just get in there and get out.
Right.
But I mean, I love putting brows on people too. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a toss up.
It is a toss-up. So I see this on the boards all the time. Probably the number one question I see with removal is they'll post a picture of their client, and then they're like, can I color correct? Should I color correct this, or should I remove it? So for you personally, what's your, like, do you have a checklist, or what do you look for? Personally, how do you know when to remove and when to color correct?
So what I'm looking for if something is way too saturated. If it's too saturated, I'm not going to be able to get color in there. So I'm going to have to remove it. I'm looking for placement. Is it in a good place? Do they like where it is? Is it too high? Is it too low?
Yeah.
So pretty much placement and how saturated it's going to be.
Yeah.
If it's not too saturated and it's in a good place, then color correct it. If it's not, then you should remove it.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I think I taught you that.
You did.
But it's true, right?
Yeah.
So, and you're exactly right. If something's too saturated, maybe with good modifiers like LI Pigments, I think makes the best modifiers in the industry, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
But they spent 30 years perfecting them. I mean, those modifiers in the LI line were launched 30 years ago. And so we've had all those years to, keep perfecting them. So even with LI Pigments, the modifiers, even on a highly saturated eyebrow, maybe we can get it to color shift over to a pretty color, but it's not going to last.
No, it's just going to come back.
It's probably going to come back really, really quickly, because that area of skin is like super saturated with, the color you're trying to correct, the gray, the blue, the green. I mean, we see it all. Gray, blue, green, purple, red. What else? Did I name them all?
Blue, green, black, gray.
I mean, all
purple.
of it. Yeah. Right. What would you say the hardest color is to pull out of the skin? Yeah.
It's red.
It is red.
Red is so hard to pull out.
It
I don't
is
even
hard
know
to pull
why.
out. I don't really know either, because, I have access to really, some chemists at LI, and I've asked them that. So, don't really know, why red is the hardest. But it definitely seems to be the hardest to pull out.
I'm just wondering, is the molecule or the particle size as big as like titanium?
No.
I would think it was smaller, right?
Yeah, no, it's not. So, yeah, I don't know. Just something about its makeup, its chemistry makeup is just.
It's just like, I'm
a
here
little
for
bit
the
more.
long
I mean,
haul.
we can get it out.
Yeah,
but it can be more challenging.
I've gotten it out. It just sucks.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes, when you're like placement, when you're talking placement, some of these corrections that come in, Michon, you look at them, and don't you think, like, how the hell did that happen? I mean, did the client
think about that all the time?
Yeah. Did the client approve that and then just ended up not liking it? Or did the client approve a completely different design and the technician who did it went outside of her drawing? Or did the technician not show the client the drawing, the pre-draw? I don't know. Sometimes I see these shapes and I can't wrap my brain around how that happened in the first place, right? Some of it's heartbreaking.
So I'm nosy, and I like to ask my clients that question.
So what? Okay, so what are some of the answers?
I get
feedback?
all sorts of things. I get told that the artist doesn't show them anything at all. They just start tattooing.
But who? Yeah, that's craziness, right?
And then people, they do a pre-draw, and then it's, you know, it's completely different than what they drew.
Yeah.
There's so many things I've asked people. I'm like, did you research your artists? Like, were they good? She's like, yeah, they had great reviews, great pictures, but then this happened. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, it's really, really sad. Something you have to be, and you know, clients can do their due diligence and do really good research.
but it might not be, you know, it might be fake.
Yeah, and that's happening, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all the time. I mean, I've had my work stolen and put on, you know, other people's websites, or they're showcasing my work. I mean, and I have a lot of colleagues. Their work has been stolen. Like, you know, a technician stole their work and is using it as their own. And so, yeah, so that's definitely happened. Has that happened to you?
Yeah, it has happened to me. It happened to Amber recently because I saw it.
Oh, you saw it?
And I was like, I know that eyeliner. Only one person does that eyeliner like that good.
Yeah, right.
I was like, that's Amber's work.
Yeah. And of course, we're going to recognize Amber's work because we've been with her for so long. And we recognize our own work. Mm-hmm. So I just think it's ridiculous that somebody thinks they can steal another artist's work and showcase it as their own and not get caught.
Well, and we're a small community. We all follow each other some way or another.
Exactly.
And we're going to find out.
Yeah,
Someone's
going to
tell us, or we're going to see it.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know my eyeliner had gotten stolen. Like, someone, it might have been Will, or, you know, someone screenshotted it, you know, took a screenshot of it and sent it to me. Mm-hmm. And by the time I went on social media, I mean, they were already like blasting this girl on social media. That's Teryn Darling's,
already getting a backlash.
They're already getting the backlash from it. And the big excuse sometimes is, well, my web designer put that up. I didn't know, you know, so.
You didn't ask either.
Yeah. So, you know, so that is happening in the industry. And the other thing, you know, is, you know, there's, you know, things are highly filtered, you know, nowadays.
Yes,
I mean,
they are.
You know, super filtered. So sometimes what you're seeing is so filtered that's not really what you're going to get as a result if you go to that artist. And there's lots of really amazing artists that do use filters. And that's still what you're going to get when you go see them, because they're just great artists. Mm-hmm. And then there's other people taking advantage of editing tools and filters and altering what their work really looks like. So
a little too much nowadays.
Yeah, there's a lot of filtering going on.
Yeah.
So we don't filter here at Girlz Inc. I've never filtered. I'm just not a big filter. Now in my selfies, maybe I might filter a little bit.
Well, who doesn't nowadays?
I know. Well, I never knew how to do it.
Did
I never knew how to do it. Yeah. No, I know how. I know how now, but I didn't know how to do it, you know, and I don't really like posting selfies of myself. It embarrasses me. You take really good selfies, but you're photogenic.
You know, I did modeling back in the day, so maybe that's what it acquires. Or I did photography for so many years. I don't know what it is.
No, you're super photogenic. I'm not. So I think I'm like way cuter in person than I am in my pictures.
I think you're great looking in pictures. It's just all in your head.
No, I don't know. I look at it and I don't know. My lips are getting a little thinner, Michon, and you're going to tattoo them. I know. No. I'm going to have you tattoo them.
No.
I need them done, but I don't think I want the single needle. I don't want to be laying in bed for 4 hours with that single needle.
Ugh.
I know, but you are going to do my lips. I'm going to make you. But let's talk about single needle.
Okay.
We'll segue into that. So for eyebrows, you know, I taught you girls, you know, the larger shaders,
yep.
right? But lately, you've been killing it with that single needle. You like that single needle ombre.
I've just been really liking it lately. It's been my jam.
Yeah.
I like it. It looks great. I like how it heals. Most of the time, I don't even need a touch up.
So what's the big difference? So, because you're like a diehard shader girl.
I am.
Bigger needle girl, but now you're crossing over and you're becoming a diehard little single needle girl, and you have a lot of respect for both. And in the industry, Michon, a lot of artists are either one or the other, so they don't really experience both or really master both. So, do you have a preference between?
I mean, it's not really a preference. It's more what does the client want it to look like. Do they want it? Do they want an ombre? I like doing ombre with a single needle just because I think it looks softer.
Yeah.
I think it looks more natural to me.
Yeah.
And then with a powder brow, I'm not going to sit there all day with a single needle and do a powder brow. It's just going to take forever. I'm going to get an 8 shader and bang it out in 30 minutes.
Yeah, because it does take longer. So if you had to do, so if we do just a classic powder brow, not one of these transparent or ombre brows, but a classic powder brow, which probably 50% of my clients want, or my clientele, a higher percentage just want the classic powder brow.
Yep.
How long does it take you to do a powder brow with a shader? 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes?
Just tattooing, probably 30 minutes. That's not including like drawing or numbing or anything like that. That's just tattooing.
I just did one this morning with the Valhalla. And I had, you popped in for a second. Yep. And it was about 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I did a 8 shader. And it was great. So how long would it take you to do the same brow, single needle?
So anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on their skin. If their skin's really good, less. But if their skin is just bleeding and juicy, it's going to take forever.
Yeah, it's going to take
Sometimes
forever.
I'll just get the 8 shader and be like, what the hell?
Well, I think there's certain skin types, even if they come in asking for the ombre or that more transparent look that the industry is really digging right now, there's some skin types that you just really can't use that single needle on, man. I mean, you just can't.
I had someone come in the other day that wanted a single needle ombre and her skin just would not take ink. And I was like, nope, not doing this. Getting the 8 shader, change it out.
Yeah. And there's a lot of artists that, I think they're stuck on the single needle. They weren't trained in the bigger needles. So they're intimidated by the bigger needles. So they don't have that second option as a bigger needle. So I know here at the studio in our training classes, on my online course, my powder brow, we preach versatility. Doesn't matter. We're all going to have a favorite needle. Mm-hmm. Mine's 8 shader. But when the single needle started getting really popular a couple of years, 3 years ago, and I was testing Loaded, right? Loaded hadn't launched yet. Every eyebrow I booked, I tattooed with that damn single needle because I wanted to learn it and master it. And it is fun. I had fun with it. I like it. But
I think that's why I like single needle now. It's your fault.
It's my fault?
Yeah, because you wanted me to test out Loaded and you're like, only do single needle. I was like, okay.
Well, I had to make sure the Loaded line was great for single needle artists, right?
Yeah.
Because the single needle artists too, it seems, they use single needle, which implants way less pigment, way less pigment than 5, 7, 8 shaders. And single needle artists, they're working more shallow in the skin. Yeah. And they're going for that transparent kind of look, especially in that ombre area. Mm-hmm. So Loaded had to be really, really strong, a strong organic line that single needle artists that don't implant, don't do high saturation and are working superficial, Loaded was going to perform for them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's when that's when we all got digging on a single needle.
And that's when I got stuck.
But I always go back to my shader, Michon. Every now and then I'll get someone in with like perfect skin. And I'll go, okay, this is the perfect candidate for that single needle. I might not get one of those again for a few months.
I'm still using my 8 shader.
Yeah, right?
I'm not going to do single needle all day because that's just going to be killer for me.
Well, you know what I've been doing lately, and I think we talked about this, is from the tail into the bulb. Not
the transition.
Yes, right? So 8 shader, and then stop, and then put in your single needle and whip the
I've done that too.
Sometimes
I do that too.
I love that because then you're not there like an hour or 2 hours, right?
Now and then I'm just there for an hour.
Yeah, you get 3/4 of it done really quick.
Yeah.
And then you just got to do that bulb.
Yep.
Yeah, so I love that.
I like doing that too. Like I said, it all depends on the look. I'll change it up.
Yeah. So Na was out here and, she's single needle. And so she was talking about that. She was like, yeah, so if their skin's really oily and, the single needles aren't working good, I jump up to a bigger needle. I'm like, oh, yeah, what bigger needle? Oh, a 3-liner. Like a 3-liner.
No.
That's still a itty bitty needle. It's so funny. It's so funny. I'm bound and determined to get Na on like a 5 shader.
Well, she'll be here soon. Just
Yeah,
get her-
she's coming
get-
out next week.
Have her do it with Have her do it with Olivia.
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, I'm gonna get her on it. I'm definitely gonna get her on it. So okay, so let's go back to removal.
Okay.
So once you decide, okay, I am going to color correct this. All right. So they come in for removal and it's not that saturated. Placement's good. And you want to color correct it. You would you use a single needle and do your whip shading in that, or?
It would depend. It would depend on how light it is.
Yeah.
And if they want ombre and they want it, super, super light in the front, I need that pigment to almost be gone.
Almost be gone.
But if they, they want a powder brow, why not? But single needle, sometimes I don't think it's going to cover it. I think it's just going to be like kind of like a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
It doesn't go in there deep enough to cover it and last.
Yeah. No. And you're right. And I think that's, artists that are doing corrective work, we have to think about that. And we have to think, long term. We always think long term.
Yep.
As an artist, a tattooer of the face, right? But when we're doing corrective work, I think it's more important to think long term. And if the single needle, if we're trying to neutralize, cover up, like a gray eyebrow, like a medium gray eyebrow, it's not quite bad enough for removal. We can go in with modifiers and correct it. If the single needle is implanting less pigment than a 5 or 8 shader, and we know single needle eyebrows fade out faster than eyebrows tattooed with an 8 shader, right?
Yeah, you see them a lot sooner than you would with a powder brow.
Yeah, and that's not good, bad, or indifferent. That's just the science behind the techniques and the 2 different needles, right? That's just science.
Yeah, the lighter it is, the faster it's going to fade.
Yeah. So the way my mind works is I want that correction to stay a pretty color for as long as possible for the client. So personally, I would probably never use a single needle unless, like you said, it's you can barely see it. I mean, it's so like the gray is so transparent. I don't think that's gonna affect anything.
Yeah.
But if it's more of a medium saturation level, then I'm definitely gonna pick 7-8 shader and get more pigment into the skin and give that brow a chance to stay brown or whatever
Yeah,
color we're turning
neutralize
it, like
that
a lot
color.
longer. Yeah, for sure. Right?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, that's what I would do too. So once someone has removal from you, do you get this question a lot? Once someone has removal from you, and they want their eyebrows microbladed or hair stroke. So, because we see that a lot too.
Yes, a lot.
So, and we I think we get requested for that in a lot. And then I see, techs asking that, she wants removal, but then after I do the removal, she wants microblading or hair strokes. Is that possible? So what's your response to that? How do you feel about that?
So my personal preference is I wouldn't do it. I mean, their skin has already gone through the trauma, the trauma of getting removed, getting all that stuff in there. There's scar tissue, that skin's healing, and then you're going to, microblade and, pretty much slice the skin open. It's going to cause even more trauma. And I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think there's a good chance, but because of, first of all, the reason they come in for removal is not because of good work.
Yeah.
And good skill, right? The reason they're coming in for removal is because it was poorly done.
Yeah.
Bad skill. A lot of times it's been done too deep, or the area's been overworked. And then we're going in and we're lightening it. We're with our with lift, that the saline technique. So we're pulling that pigment to the surface, by the process of osmosis. So after, and that could be 2, 3, 4 sessions, sometimes more on some really, really tough cases. You can be looking at 6 or 7 sessions sometimes on some tough cases. So that's a lot of trauma to the area. And I think you're right. even though sometimes you can't visually see the trauma on the surface, imagine like the scar tissue and the trauma underneath the surface that can take, months and months and months, if not years, to rebuild and heal. And I'm just wondering if you went and put strokes on that, if they'd blur, they wouldn't heal crisp.
I don't think they would heal crispy just because of that.
Yeah. I've never tried it, so I don't really know. No.
I'm like, if anything, my mind goes like, well, maybe if you did hair strokes with a machine.
Yeah.
Because it's not as traumatizing to the skin.
It's not as, yeah. I just think we're better off just putting a powder brow on them. Like once they get the pigment, lightened and we've done all that, I just think they're much better off going into a powder brow.
Well, then I always ask them, I'm like, why do you want microblading?
Yeah.
Just for the sheer fact of knowledge. Usually people, that's all they know about our industry.
It's a term.
Yeah, they're like,
know.
Well, I want microblading because it's natural. I'm like, but do you know all the other things that you could get with your brows? And they're like, there's other things?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah,
there's a lot of other things you could do.
What about the client that comes in with her pencil? She draws on her eyebrows super solid, like a sticker, right?
Yep.
Really solid and bold. And she comes in, I want microblading.
Well, that's almost like me when I told you, because I didn't have my brows and I was like, oh, well, I want microblading or I want hair strokes. And you're like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, tell me why I don't. And you're like, because look at how you do your eyebrows.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Well, anybody that likes and you like your eyebrows bold,
I do.
bolder, Amber likes her eyebrows bolder. A lot of clients like their eyebrows bolder. And we here in the studio, and lots of artists everywhere, we can tattoo a really bold eyebrow, have it striking and bold, but it still has soft edges and it looks beautiful and natural. So when a client comes in like that, like why they think they want microblading or hair strokes is beyond me. I mean, they're not going to like it.
Well, like you, I can talk them out of it in a second.
Yeah, I can talk anybody into anything.
I'm like, no, you don't want that.
Too. Well, they're not going to like it. And I try to explain that to them. It's a really delicate look. I think it's a good introduction to PMU, maybe for someone who's really afraid.
That or someone that has a lot of hair and they just want a little bit of filler.
Yeah. There's definitely a place for microblading, and certainly a place for machine hair strokes. I mean, I love the machine hair strokes when they're done beautiful and they're done on the right client. But I've just been a powder brow girl. I'm mostly, I don't know. I guess we tend to maybe do what we like most, what we're most attracted to. Do you think that's true? Is there some truth into that?
Yeah.
Well, Amber loves wings. She loves tattooing wings. And look, she draws the wings on herself. She loves her wings.
Yeah, I love eyebrows.
Yeah. But
yeah, I'd have to say yes.
Yeah, because I like a bolder look too. I really do. I mean, not harsh or anything, but I tend to like a little bit of a bolder look.
Well, even I mean, everything's tattooed. I don't have any makeup on right now, but when I go out, they get darker.
Yeah, they get darker. Do you make them thicker?
I make them like a hair thicker.
A hair thicker? I tattooed your eyebrows.
Well, I mean, you and multiple people.
Yeah, I know. And you were a bleeder, man. Do you remember what a pain in the ass your skin was? I think I was bitching
pigment
the whole
really
time.
well. It just gushes blood down the side
Yeah,
of
it was
my face.
horrible. I was just like, oh my God, your skin is so bad.
If it makes you feel any better, my artist that did my neck, she said the same thing. She's like, oh my God, like you
So
just
did that
have
hurt?
so much lymph.
Did it hurt? Like on your
Yes,
neck?
It hurt really bad.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm not a crier. I don't have those kind of emotions most of the time. And I cried. I cried twice.
You cried twice? And you're admitting it?
I'll admit it. I don't care. You know what? I'm a hardcore bitch. I got this. And I sat there and I did that my first session 8 hours.
Where was it the Adam apple? Is that like what hurt the most?
No, it's like where my collarbone was and like right above where my dermals used to be.
Yeah.
It felt like she was stabbing my dermal.
So dermal's piercings for anybody that doesn't know that.
They're not there anymore. I'd show you guys, but I took them out.
Did you take them out just to get the tattoo?
No, I took them out because they started rejecting.
Oh, they did?
They started rejecting. I knew they were going to reject over
so what
time.
do you mean rejecting, like pushing onto your skin?
Yep.
Oh, God.
A lot of surface piercings and stuff like that. They'll reject over time.
Okay.
And I got them so low that the piercer told me they were going to reject anyways. And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll tattoo over it anyways. It's fine.
So is that it for the neck area?
No.
Cat's in here listening, so be careful what you say.
So,
Cat.
so if anything,
So you're adding to the neck? Like, where the hell are you going to go with it?
I'm just going to go out a little bit more towards my shoulders.
Oh,
and then
okay.
I'm going to go down.
These are called the traps, right? Because you're a power lifter.
Traps are over here. Traps are back here.
Because you're a power lifter too, right?
Yes.
In the gym, you lift
I lift
big.
a lot of weight.
So, okay. So what do you lift? What's like...
What's my heaviest lift?
Yeah,
on
like what? Like a deadlift? Is that what you're doing? Deadlifts?
Okay, yeah, I do deadlifts.
Okay, so what's your weight?
My heaviest deadlift is 260 pounds.
Oh, that's badass. That's badass.
260 pounds.
But I always tease you. I can still take you.
Yeah, I'll just sit on you.
You just laugh at me.
If you guys don't know,
Michon, don't give me no shit. I could take you. I'm little, but I can take you.
Teryn's very tiny.
I know, but I think I'm tough.
I think she'd be a good scrapper, but
I'm a good little scrapper.
She'd give me a run for my money.
I'd probably just run, to be honest with you. Especially nowadays. Maybe like 20 years ago, maybe I'd scrap with you. I'll leg wrestle you.
I don't think you want to leg wrestle
No?
me. That's like the strongest thing on me. I squat 190 pounds.
Oh, I was going to ask you squatting. Okay, so deadlifting, you do what, 225?
260.
260. And squatting, how much?
190.
Oh, 190?
Yeah.
So you're going for the 200.
I'm trying.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So what else is there in powerlifting? The deadlifting, the squatting, what else?
There's a bunch of things. I mean, I don't just do powerlifting. My fiance is a bodybuilder, so he likes to lift weights too. So I train with him at least 5-6 days out of the week.
Yeah.
So I lift a lot of things. Leg press, I probably do, I don't know, 300 pounds or more.
Yeah. I think it's been good for you. I think Jake and your new lifestyle of lifting has been good to you. So, you know what Kat said to me the other day?
What'd she say?
She said, Michon's just been so happy
That's good.
lately. And I'm like, I know. She has been. And you have.
Minus the wedding, it's stressful.
Yeah, just take it all in stride. Just try not to let it stress you out, So, but no, I know. But yeah, so you've definitely been really super happy,
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I had a few years there.
You did have a few years. So you were kind of sad.
Yeah.
Do you deal with depression, you think?
I do. I have manic depression. So I have really, really high highs and I have really, really low lows.
Yeah.
And I don't like to take any drugs just because
they don't work. I deal with depression too, and they don't work.
It just freaks me out. So
yeah. Well, I wouldn't say they don't work as a blanket statement.
They work for some people.
They do work for some people. They didn't work for me. I think, maybe 25 years ago I tried some and didn't help me at all. So, yeah, I deal with some depression too, and I get a little manic too. I wonder if that's an artist thing, man.
Maybe. I mean, that's why I work out. Just keep my mental vision good.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to start working out again. I keep saying this weekend, but getting my ass in there has been difficult.
Yeah.
I worked out in like 8 years.
If I didn't have Jake, I'd probably be like, yeah, next weekend. He'd be like, no, I'll see you there in the morning. I'm like, damn. Okay.
I know. Kat's not that she's not like that hard on me about it. She wants me to work out though. Like she's saying little things lately, like hinting. So
well, go work out with Kat. She's fun. She's fun to work out with. We worked out together in London.
I know. Yeah, you did. When Kat and I first started dating, like 16 years ago, we worked out together. And then I kept it up until I got married.
Like, I don't got to work out no more.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know. It was like we went to Hawaii, we got married, and I don't know. I just haven't picked it back up. It's horrible. But I have to pick it up because they say it's really good for...
It's good for your mental health.
For your mental health, and I think it's good for, they say it's
cardiovascular, everything.
Yeah. They say it's good for your sex life too.
It is.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good for every aspect of your life.
I can honestly say the thinner I get, the higher my libido goes.
Well, good for lucky Jake. All right, so let's go back to removal. What do you think about this thing we call emergency removal?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love emergency removal, and I think more people should know about it because, there is unfortunately artists out there that are not well trained enough and then giving these people bad work and they don't know what to do. Yeah.
So let's explain, you want to explain what it is?
So emergency removal, you literally just put on, our lift solution for 10 minutes, and it has to be within a 24 to 48 hour range
Yeah,
of
24 to
them
40 hours.
getting their work done. So that way, the sooner the better. The sooner the better, because that way we can just lift it out.
Yeah.
And we literally just put it on there for a 10-minute soak and then send them on their way and hope that it comes out.
Yeah. And there's a few little tricks and protocol and things that we do to make sure that it really works. So for someone that has just gone and got their eyebrows done and they don't like the way it came out, right? There's hope. They can come to the Girlz Inc. studio if they live in Vegas. If they don't live in Vegas, they can find someone that's trained in lift and knows how to do this technique and get to a lift technician as quick as possible within 48 hours. Within 24 hours is best.
Yes.
And we can do what we do in our procedure room, and most likely that brow will not heal in the skin. Most likely it will not heal in the skin.
Yeah, I've had one come in. I think she got them done that day. I don't know specifically how long it was, but she got them done that day. Came in, put it on there. Saw her 4 weeks later. There was nothing left.
Nothing.
Maybe like little tiny remnants of just like little spots, but that pretty much nothing. You couldn't see anything unless you or me were looking at it.
Yeah, yeah. I think we've said, and it's a lot of people don't know about it yet because it's a fairly new technique. I happen to, I know.
Who invented it?
I invented it.
No, I know.
I would say I invented it. I would say, what's that saying? I don't want to screw it up. Necessity is the source of invention, something like that, right? Yeah. And so it's close enough.
Close enough.
And look, I've been doing removal for 15 years now, and it was never popular in the industry, right? Like no one really wanted to learn it. No technicians, emailed me want to learn. It just wasn't a popular thing. But I loved it. I knew the value of saline removal. I taught you girls. But we were always taught for years and years and years, maybe 25, 30 years, it was protocol that if someone went and got a really bad eyebrow, there was nothing you could do. You had to leave it had to heal.
Yep.
It had to heal in the skin, and you could bring them in like 6 weeks later and then, tattoo the solution in there and start the removal process, which can take, 2, 3, 4, 6 sessions sometimes. And I had a client. She wasn't my client. She was somebody who got really bad work here in town, and she was on the phone crying. It was actually the end of the day. And I don't know. I can't remember, Michon, if I had been thinking about this or not, or if it was just she called and it just clicked. Well, let me just try.
You're like, why not?
Yeah, I felt bad for her because I told her she had to wait for it to heal in, and she just was not okay with that answer. And she came in, and I did on her what's now called the emergency removal technique, and it worked. I mean, it just worked. And then I taught a couple of my colleagues. I think Kelly over in Canada was the first one I talked to about it. And it was shortly after my experience with my own client, and she did it, and she sent me the picture, and it was gone. I mean, gone. Like no bad eyebrow had ever been tattooed there, and that was the experience I had with my client. So I thought, I am on to something here.
We got to tell everybody.
Yeah, I got to tell everybody. But, I shared it with some close colleagues that were doing removal. We did it in here quite a few times. I wanted to make sure it was a technique worth sharing, worth teaching. And now it's blown up. Now, I mean, even other training programs like Botched Inc., they teach it. Lisa Henning. I love Lisa Henning. We're good colleagues, and we speak sometimes, and she's teaching it. So what an honor, right? That I think it's fantastic, and that's just quite a compliment that this discovery that I happened to stumble upon became so valuable that the industry has embraced it. And my only worry is that's going to be, is that going to be my legacy?
I don't think so. I think you've got a little bit more than just emergency removal for your legacy.
But if it is, that's okay. If that's what, I'm remembered for is like emergency removal, that's okay. It's totally okay. But no, it's just so awesome that now we have that tool and that ability for clients. It doesn't always remove it 100% like it was never there, but at least by we've been doing it enough now that we can kind of look at the results and the statistics, and I think it's about 70. I would say right about 70% of the emergency removals being done removes all of it or almost all of it.
Yep.
And then maybe you've got 20% that's removing half of it.
Yes.
And then maybe there's been a couple of cases here and there where not much removed. So
that's really rare, but
that is rare. Most times it's being removed. Yeah. So I think that's great. I love doing it too.
We get it right in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And it's such a simple technique.
Yeah. I'm like,
it's so simple.
Why not?
Like, why did no one else think of it?
You could come in between clients. It doesn't even take that long.
No, it doesn't. The client's here, about a half hour?
Not even.
Yeah. Not even, right?
Maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah. No, I know.
In and out.
Yeah. It's craziness. I love it. And migrated eyeliner. We can remove a migrated eyeliner now. Yep. So I had a doozy for my Lift online course. I had a doozy migration come in as a model. But that was another discovery of mine. For years and years and years, we thought, you were taught you cannot remove a migrated eyeliner. A migrated eyeliner, some people call it a blowout, because the theory was if you went in and did removal on the migration part, you would spread it further.
Make it worse.
You would make it worse.
Well, I mean, you still can make it worse if you don't know your right depth.
You don't know your right depth, yeah.
Or if you're doing the wrong technique.
The wrong technique. And was the key.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm not going to go into detail about it because I don't want people watching this and going out and trying it without proper training, but it had everything to do with the technique.
It's all about the technique.
It's all about the technique. And we've been successfully removing migrated eyeliners for about 4 years now, and not one migration eyeliner has ever moved, gotten worse, or spread further. We're pulling them out.
I've never had an issue with it.
No, me neither. So it's just amazing where removal has come in the last 4 years. I think it's really evolved. And
I think everybody should, take a removal class and learn how to remove things, just in case, especially when your newer work. Not everybody's, beginner work is good. Sometimes you want to get rid of that stuff.
No, hey, look, we all have bad eyebrows, right? The struggle's real. I tell everybody all the time, the struggle's real when you first start out. Maybe some people don't like to talk about it or admit it, but some of my work for starting out 20 years ago, I mean, come on, man. It was like bad. You look at it now and you're like, oh my goodness.
You're like, I did that. I got to fix that.
Yeah, I did that. I know. It was like horrible. I remember one client, she come in my room. I was like doing it maybe a year. She come in my room and she was like this white-haired lady, right? And I thought, oh, those healed so pretty. I was like so proud of myself. It was great.
I'm like, what color were they?
She wanted a little touch up, right? So I had a cleaner. So I lay her down. I get cotton, alcohol in the cotton. I take her brows off. And I was like, oh my God. She had makeup over them.
She was covering them.
She was covering them. But yes. And so when I took the makeup off, they were really dark and they looked like a sticker. And I was horrified. But I remember even asking her, without your makeup, they're really dark.
They're intense.
Maybe we should lighten these. And she's like, oh, no, honey, because if you go lighter when I put my foundation on, you won't be able to see them. So she was just, I think that was Michelle Zimmerman's Nana, wasn't it, Kat? I think it was my hairdresser's Nana at the time. And of course I have to go see my hairdresser. So
she's like, what'd you do to my grandma?
Yeah. But Michelle was like, oh, no, don't worry about it. My Nana never leaves her house with her foundation. And she doesn't take a Q-tip and remove the foundation. She covers her brows with foundation. So they're perfect. I said, Michelle, she's going to have to go to bed, everything. She's never going to be able to take her foundation off those eyebrows because when she does.
Nobody has to see that in life.
Yeah, exactly. They were really bad. But Nana liked them.
Hey, I remember doing my grandmother. Like, she was one of my first people I ever tattooed, and they were dark. But you know what? She liked them that dark. She wanted them darker, and I was like, "There's no possible way we could go any darker."
Yeah.
I was like, "I don't know what to do."
Some of the older ladies, sorry, I got a thing in my throat. Some of the older ladies, they like their brows dark.
Yeah.
Because they do. They put on their foundation, and they're not going to like get a Q-tip wet and remove it. Right?
To each his own, man.
Yeah,
Just
to
don't
each
tell
their own.
anybody.
No, don't tell anybody. That's hysterical. Ah, my God. All right. So what else with removal? Michon, you teach it.
I see a lot of questions on the boards about, is this okay to remove? Is this okay to remove? And I would say remove anything you want.
Yeah.
You can remove anything you want.
Yeah.
And I'm the only thing I would say is be mindful of how big it is, because the bigger it is, the longer you're working, the longer you're going to be on that part. So within reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And that would be sometimes, so with body tattoos, that would be the only time I would refer out to laser, because we get body tattoos that come in here too.
Big tattoos. If it's like, square inch, the size of a deck of cards, I would do it.
Yeah.
If it's bigger than that, I'm like, here's a good laser person.
Yeah.
Go get it done.
Yeah. Because if the tattoo's like that big,
Imagine
how long it's going to take us.
It's going to take you forever.
With our needles, and we have like 18 shaders.
I was like, I'd pull out an 18 shader and be there forever.
It would be there forever. So sometimes it is good to send them out to laser for those big things, because that laser wand can just sweep over that big tattoo, really super quick. Yeah. I think we can remove just about anything too. Probably the one area in the eye area is going, sometimes people tattoo too far into that inner canthus. There's some areas in there.
What's that called? The canth something?
Inner canthus. Yeah, the inner canthus.
Yeah, the blowout zone, guys. Don't go in there.
Yeah. As a Tatter-a-fact, that's called the inner canthus.
Just a little information for you guys.
Yeah. But, sometimes there's some technicians that are bringing that pigment too, far in.
Yeah.
And if you're not super skilled, definitely don't go in there chasing that, trying to lighten it. And even the super skilled like myself, there's been a few times where I declined it because I just felt it was too.
Well, yeah, you don't want to ruin their tear ducts or you don't want to cause any issues to their eyes with someone's eye.
Yeah. I would say probably too, if you're new to removal, I think I talk about this in my course. If you're new to removal, fairly new to permanent makeup, fairly new to removal, maybe, a couple years in, start out with just eyebrows. I don't really think they should be removing eyeliner.
I would say eyebrows and body tattoos.
Yeah, eyeliner, body tattoos. We do a lot of finger tattoos, letters. We lighten a lot of that stuff.
I always tell people when I train for removal, I tell them, if you're going to do eyeliner, have a few years under your belt of you doing eyeliner first.
Yeah, no, I highly, highly agree. I don't think you can't go in and remove or lighten an eyeliner if you've never tattooed an eyeliner.
Yeah, you just don't know the depth. It's
yeah, exactly.
Scary.
Exactly. No, that's a good point that you made. And we say lighten, technically. They don't really want it, like insurance companies and health departments. They don't really want you saying remove.
Yeah.
I think it sounds too medical. So we do say lighten. We try to remember to say lighten in all our, paperwork here. It says lighten. But we can lighten. I think most times we lighten it down to where it's barely visible.
To where it's not there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's all like a play on words, right?
Yeah, just say it differently.
Yeah. Well, some states, I think it's Texas or some states that classify it as a like a medical procedure, and it's tattooing. I think it belongs in the tattoo industry, a permanent makeup industry. You put in a needle and in your tattoo machine, your permanent makeup machine, and you do the same exact thing as you do with pigment. except it's this natural saline solution. So it boggles my mind that some states are so strict and, and they're classifying as medical rather than, a permanent makeup procedure. Because who is going to be better at doing saline tattoo removal than a tattoo artist?
Right.
No one. And
I don't know why it's classified as that in other states and why people can't learn it. It's a medical thing.
Yeah.
It's tattooing.
It's tattooing for sure.
Without the pigment.
Exactly. That's exactly right. It's tattooing without the pigment.
Yep.
So, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't get it.
These state regulations. Where do they come up with these rules?
I know. So are you working on any removals right now? Do you got any in progress?
I've always got removals in progress. I've got someone that's been coming to me for a long time for removal. She got her eyebrows lasered, and she had titanium in her brows. It's taken double the sessions to get where we need to be, and we finally are able to put some new brows on her.
Yeah. Well, titanium can be a bitch.
Yeah.
It's
fun to watch it come out, though.
Yeah. And I know you've had that happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, sometimes when you're working on titanium is white,
yes.
right? It's the technical name for white. And white pigment, titanium has a really big molecule size, right? It's really, really big. So it's heavy. And so it can take longer lifting something heavy.
It's so heavy, it comes out in chunks.
It comes out in chunks. I remember the very first time it ever happened to me, and it happened on a bottom eyeliner. And I was warned that this might happen because I had a really good mentor in saline removal. And I'm tattooing this bottom eyeliner, and a little piece of it stuck to my needle as I went to go, pull out of her skin. Mm-hmm. You could just see the titanium, like a string of it. And I was like, oh my goodness, I think
we got to take a picture.
Yeah. Well, I went and got tweezers, clean tweezers, of course. And I just started pulling it out, Michon in chunks. And it's happened to me a few times since.
I'm like, I've never had to take the tweezers to it.
Yeah, it was so chunky. Yeah, it's just crazy. It's, what titanium does under the skin, it's just really crazy. Because, of course, it doesn't go into the skin chunky. It goes in the skin like pigment.
Yeah.
But when it sits there long enough.
It solidifies.
Yeah, it ends up, kind of chunky and kind of stringy and, kind of weird.
It's gross, but it's fun at the same time.
Yeah. And we've been really successful. Like, it can take longer, to get titanium out, but we can definitely get titanium out. I started a really hard case. I think you saw her, didn't you?
The upper lid.
Yeah. So, and what happened is she had upper left surgery, and someone went in and tried to camouflage her scar, and they didn't know what they were doing. And so the camouflage pigment turned really dark. Mm-hmm. Like, it didn't match her skin. So she ended up with a dark, line up there rather than a scar. And she went back to the same technician. And that same technician just blasted a bunch
covered it with white.
And same thing. The technician made mistakes on both her bulbs and her brows, blasted white over it. So you can see big patches of camouflage pigment on both brows.
See, this is why we have lifts, so we can remove this and not camouflage things.
Yeah. And so, and I never really tattooed up in the crease.
How was the stretch?
It was hard, man. It was hard to get a good stretch on her. I got it, but yeah, it was interesting. I kind of feel like I've tattooed all over the body, mm-hmm. Because I was a body tattooer for many, many, many years, and I've done everywhere on the face. But I don't think I had ever gone like literally right in the crease of the eye. So that was different, but it was good. I mean, the procedure went great. Everything went normal, and I got her scheduled to come back in 8 weeks. So I'm just really hoping for this lady, but because she hates it. She was saying, "Look, Teryn, I feel everybody stares at me. Everybody's always looking at it."
They do.
Yeah, because it looked, it's noticeable. Mm-hmm. But, we just started. So we just started with her. So she's just starting the process. So, fingers crossed
And
on
how
that
are
one.
how are her eyelids? Are they hooded? Are they pretty good?
No, her eyelids are pretty good. The surgeon did a pretty good job. I mean, she was a cute lady. I thought she was really cute lady, really, really sweet. And, I just love permanent makeup so much. It's just it's my craft, right? It's such a craft. Not everybody looks at it and respects it as a craft, but it is. And it's so important to me. So when I see it done so wrong and so bad,
It pisses me off.
it makes me upset. Yeah, it's offensive. It just makes you so upset that there's people out there thinking that they can just do a 2 or 3 day training class and or watch something on YouTube and go perform this sacred craft that you and I, have been studying for years. Me personally, I still study. I'm still researching stuff. I'm still, constantly trying to get better and more knowledgeable at this thing we call PMU, right?
Yeah. That's what everybody, in permanent makeup should be doing. They should be trying to, perfect their craft and, these 3-day classes and it just makes me so mad that people can think that they can take a 3-day class and I can tattoo someone's face.
Yeah.
No,
not at all. And some people recognize that, right? Like Jen Boyd. And I know there's a lot of people like Jen Boyd. She took a 2-day, 3-day microblading course, but then she knew, I think she just used that to see, do I like this? Is this something that I want to pursue? And she ended up liking it, and she went and pursued it, and she trained and trained and trained.
Education.
Yeah, but not everybody has that mindfulness as Jen, right?
Well, a lot of people, that start out in this industry that have, they've kind of been flooded with, they only see the dollar signs.
Yeah, well, a lot of the classes are being marketed as, a lot of the trainings are being marketed as such. They're not being marketed trying to attract an artist that someone has like raw talent and trying to get the right person in with who's going to be good at this. They're trying to draw them in with the promise of a 6-figure income or making a lot of money. And so I think this industry attracts a lot of people that probably aren't really meant to be artists or to be PMU artists,
I mean, I think that's why it makes me mad. Like I didn't do this going into this thinking about money. I went into this thinking, I can make someone feel better about, their lives or make them feel better, more confident.
Yeah.
And there's just these people that are ruining that.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're here. That's why Lyft is here.
Well, that's why I'm fixing their faces one day at a time.
One day. Yeah, exactly. Well, I know. It's just, but I think, it's like that in every industry probably, so every industry, has that side of it.
I guess I get more passionate about because I'm angry about it.
Yeah. I know. I think everybody gets really annoyed and angry and frustrated, especially when you're dealing with that work firsthand. When they're coming into your studio, they're in your room, they're upset. Sometimes they get emotional, Yeah. And we're the ones.
We're the therapists.
Yeah. I mean, we're the ones fixing it. And sometimes you do become the therapist, and it's a lot. And sometimes I feel it's a lot of pressure on us.
Well, then the clients are traumatized. They don't know who to trust anymore.
Yeah, they don't know. And sometimes I feel like we're their last chance, right? We're their last chance. I mean, they're at the end of the road. Mm-hmm. They've tried this, they've tried laser or, they've tried different removal things. And somehow, some way, they found us. And they're just at the end of the road, and they're just like, you're my last chance. And I've had several clients say that to me over the years, and that just puts a lot of pressure on you,
Yeah.
because you want to deliver, you want to get that gone, And usually when you do lighten something, you know, you remove something that's unattractive, that client wants it put back on.
Yeah, they're another client. I mean, sometimes they're so traumatized it takes them a little while to come back.
Yeah, yeah.
They usually do.
Yeah, but they usually do. You've earned their trust because you lightened something unattractive. They got to know you a little bit, and then they trust you to go ahead and redo their eyebrows, you know, for them.
Yep.
So it's good. Would you say the relationship with a removal client is different somehow than your relationship with the PMU client? Is there a different kind of dynamic or relationship?
I think so. I see them a little bit more often because, you know, you're not in all cases, it doesn't remove in just one session. So I see them, you know, after 8 weeks, I see them again, or, you know, I see them after 4 weeks after it's, you know, healed, and you know, we book another session, we see them again. So we kind of build a relationship around that, and then they get to know us a little bit more, and, you know, we're helping them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that's, I guess we'll end it with that, right? That's why we do removal. It's all about helping. I mean, what a service too, right? Like,
I don't even like to charge them that much, just the sheer fact that, you know, they already paid someone so much amount of money to ruin their face.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's just help them out a little bit.
Yeah, and we do that.
Yeah,
we do. We discount a lot. We help them out, or we'll, you know, we do their last session for free sometimes. Or
sometimes I'll even take them on as models. I ask them if they, you know, if they don't mind a student doing the work as long as I'm there. I'll do them for free.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're really generous like that. Yeah, it's super cool. So, yay.
Yay.
Well, thank you for doing my podcast today.
Thanks
Did
for
you enjoy
asking
it?
me or making
You were
me.
nervous.
I said, or making me. I'm always nervous. I don't like to be in front of the camera.
You know, but it's like, I mean, didn't you kind of forget, like, the cameras are here?
Yeah, I just try not to look at them.
Yeah, I know. No, you're blushing.
Don't. That's because I'm
And
so
your
white.
eyelashes look good. Are those,
They're glued on.
they're glued on?
I glued them on right before we did this.
I can't wear them things. I see them. I've tried them a couple times, but I end up seeing them.
Well, I can't wear mascara. I'm allergic.
Oh, okay.
If I could wear mascara, I would.
All right. All right. Well, let's say goodbye.
Bye.
All right. All right, you guys. Thank you for joining me for another session of Tatter-a-fact, my girl Michon, and we will see you next time. Have a good one, everyone.